If you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.
Well, apparently less and less people want to get Stuckmanized. Hey guys, welcome to another video and welcome to another fall of video. Welcome to the fall of Chris Stuckmann. Yes, I've been actually, believe it or not, been getting recommendations for years to do for Chris Stuckmann. As soon as I did the Schmoes Know, everyone wanted me to hear, like, do Chris Stuckmann, do Chris Stuckmann. And I'm like, no.
No, I don't really feel like it.
And there's many reasons why I didn't want to do Chris Stuckmann. It's because I'm like, well, he's doing his own thing. I don't agree with what he's doing, but that's his thing. It's his channel. He can do what the fuck he wants to do. He's a big boy. And his channel really hasn't fallen. Like, that's the point of the fall of videos. Like, Schmoes, literally their channel was destroyed, like, by themselves because they abandoned it to go to Collider, and Rooster Teeth, man, because they put identity politics, and all these creators left, like Ray and Bernie and stuff, and the channels just fell apart. Rooster Teeth and Achievement Hunter, and the Nostalgia Critic had so much controversy with what he did and the people he worked with, like with Mike Majad and stuff. There's a lot of stuff that went down with like Doug Walker, Mark Hellas, Christian Harloff, and everyone at Rooster Teeth and Achievement Hunter. So there's just a lot of information to put with those fall loves. Chris Stuckmann is just a guy. He's just a guy that talked movies, and he hasn't done anything controversial. He hasn't said anything horrible, and he hasn't like done anything bad. So I'm like, what am I doing the fall love really of? But recently something happened, and I'm like, okay. And now it's kind of caused a controversy with him, and now he's losing subscribers. Apparently he's lost like 100,000 subscribers in the past little bit because of one video he did. So I'm gonna take us all the way to the back of Chris Stuckmann's backstory, and we're gonna lead it all up to today and why he's fallen off the map a little bit, and people are losing respect for Chris Stuckmann as a film critic. All right, so Chris Stuckmann. Chris Stuckmann started YouTube in 2009, and I think a lot of people will know his like first big video was the Dragon Ball Evolution, just him sitting on his bed talking about Dragon Ball Evolution. Apparently he had like a YouTube channel where he did like 30-second movie reviews and stuff, but he left because of religious reasons and came back to YouTube, and eventually he just did reviews and wanted to be a film critic. He wanted to be like Siskel and Ebert because he really looked up to Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert. And what drew people to Chris Stuckmann is that he's just this average Joe guy that just talks movies and loves to talk about movies, has a passion for movies, and when he sees a bad movie, he's like, wow, what a piece of shit movie that is. That's why everyone saw his first review of Dragon Ball Evolution is a negative review, because he hates that movie, and we all hate that movie, especially if you grew up with Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Like, Dragon Ball Evolution is a peeping pile of garbage. And Chris Stuckmann just calling that shit out. And everyone's like, I love this guy. And he just gradually builds a fan base. But he didn't, like, get super mega big until later. And how I discovered him was on March 19th, 2013. He did a video called a rant on the movie-going experience. See, I always saw Chris Stuckmann, like, collab with certain people. Like, before I watched Chris Stuckmann, I watched, like, Jeremy Jahns, and I even watched the Schmoes before I watched Chris Stuckmann, and he was doing collabs with these guys, so I occasionally saw Chris Stuckmann, but I never really got into his channel. But then when I saw this video on the rant on the movie-going experience, and he was just talking about real things that we all experience going to the movie theater, I'm like, man, that's so relatable, man. Like, going to the theater, seeing all these movies, and then people are loud, obnoxious, and talking, and people on their phones and stuff. Like, you're just talking about things that we all experience on an every week basis when we're going to the movies. And the fact that he was just ranting about real life stuff and telling real life stories about movie theaters and experiences he had, I just understood and related to the guy, and I really loved what he was talking about. So that is when I became a subscriber to Chris Stuckmann, is when he did the rant on the movie-going experience. And then after that, I watched, like, video what he did on Movie 43, which is, like, one of his big videos. Like, a lot of his negative criticism, actually, is all his biggest hit videos. And I just loved how he kind of ripped into movies and stuff. And then I liked his dry personality. Like, he wasn't like Jeremy Jahns, where he was like more flashy, had the crazy red screen behind him. He was more stale and dry, and I kind of enjoyed it. And he had a funny sense of humor with that dry humor, kind of like a British humor and stuff. And I was like, I liked his opinions. I'm like, man, he's very analytical. He's very deep. And then when he rips on movies, it's super funny and super enjoyable to watch. And then in July 1st, 2013, he released Hilariosity Reviews.
I never misspelled anything! Not one time! One time!
Yes, these are a bunch of reviews that he did for fucking so long. 8-9 years he did Hilariosity Reviews. And is what he pretty much he made fun of bad movies, kind of like what the Nostalgia Critic did with nostalgic movies, but he did with all movies that are so bad they're hilarious, they're funny, they're hilariously bad. Like, he did, his first one was For the Room, and then he did like The Happening. He did what was that, the Uwe Ball one? It's one of my favorite ones. House of the Dead, and probably his most iconic one was the Dragon Ball Evolution. Again, because he did like a re-review of it, because his first review was Dragon Ball Evolution. Then he did an entire hilariosity of Dragon Ball Evolution, where he was like ripping this movie apart, and he was getting like all this like merchandise of Dragon Ball Evolution. He was grabbing a hammer and smashing the Blu-ray of it, burning it. It was like he was doing all this insane, crazy things to Dragon Ball Evolution, everything about Dragon Ball Evolution, all the merchandise of Dragon Ball Evolution. It was just hilarious to watch. And I think if Chris Stuckmann watched those videos now, like modern Chris Stuckmann watched past Chris Stuckmann, he would hate past Chris Stuckmann, because he's like, you're being too negative on Dragon Ball Evolution. It's the studio's fault. Leave that movie alone. Even though, like, he was right. The past Chris was right. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I think present Chris Stuckmann hates his Hilariosity Reviews, because he is making fun of movies, he's making fun of the filmmakers, he's having fun. Like, it's okay to bash the movies. They're just movies. That's all they are. He was never giving a personal attacks to anyone. He was just making fun of the hokey acting, bad dialogue, shitty effects, and that's what people do when they make fun of bad movies. And that's what made that review of Dragon Ball Evolution probably one of his best videos, is because he was having so much fun, and we, the audiences, were having fun watching the video. It's fucking hilarious to watch that shit. Someone freaking out like that is entertaining, and that's what you're doing. You're there to give knowledge to everyone and give your perspective, but you're also here to entertain your subscribers. That's why people subscribe to you, and that's definitely easily his best video. I don't know if the new Chris Stuckmann would think so, because you can't knock anything, you can't be negative and everything. That's toxic. Apparently, his review of Dragon Ball Evolution would be toxic now, and it's not. It's funny. And he continued to do Hilariosity Reviews, and they were all great. They were super, super funny. But Chris Stuckmann always wanted to be a filmmaker. He's always said that. He's talked about he wanted to be a filmmaker. He wanted to make movies and stuff. And he did like a fan thing in 2016 about like Batman v Superman, and he made like a fan script of how he would have changed Batman v Superman. And apparently he got a lot of hate from it. I don't know a lot about that. I never read his little script. I didn't care really. But he made a whole video about people were sending him death threats, which is stupid. People shouldn't send death threats and stuff, but he really couldn't take the criticisms, though. And he himself is a critic, but it's like almost he couldn't take criticisms. And, okay, if he was getting actual threats, then that's not criticisms. That's just pure hate. And don't ever do that to someone. Don't ever do that. But even when someone was, like, criticizing him, he didn't take it very well. Even when Red Letter Media, back, I think this was like 2016 as well, 2015 as well, Red Letter Media made fun of Chris Stuckmann and all the YouTube critics, and Chris Stuckmann took it. He didn't take it very well.
I did remove them from my channel box, though, and it was sort of an impulse decision. And it wasn't something I did in anger, but I think most people in my position, when you go out of your way to promote someone, without ever being asked, and you're just doing it because you love their content, and then the first time they ever seem to notice you is that, even though it is a small joke, part of me was kind of like, I guess I don't really want to promote them, because if that's how they feel about me.
And I know a lot of people, when that happened with the Red Letter Media stuff, people didn't like Chris Stuckmann after an arc. They thought Chris Stuckmann just couldn't take a joke. He was just this butthurt guy. I didn't care. I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, he clearly he can't take a joke sometimes, but whatever. I still watch Chris Stuckmann. I still enjoyed him. I liked his collaborations with the Flick Pick with John Flickinger. I thought they had such a good chemistry with each other. Their videos, their vlogs with each other was super entertaining, because John was like crazy, and he was like Nick Cage crazy, and Chris Stuckmann was just so dry, and it was hilarious to watch the two of them together. But as times kept going, Chris Stuckmann wanted to change his channel, and some of it was for the good. Like, when he does, like, analytical stuff, when he did stuff, like, with Prometheus, Drive, and then when he talked about the problem with action movies in the modern age and horror movies, I thought these were awesome ideas and great videos, because it's still him being very critical of filmmaking and how to change it for the better. And I think those are also some of his best videos of critiquing action movies and critiquing horror films. He doesn't want to do that now. I'm getting to that. But I think what happened, like, maybe 2018 or something, he stopped doing worst ofs. Like, at the end of the year, every film critic does it on YouTube, is they do their best movies of the year and worst movies of the year. He didn't want to do worst anymore, because he didn't want to be harsh on movies. And that was, like, another step of, like, people not wanting to watch him anymore. Like, well, he doesn't want to do worst ofs. That's kind of silly and stuff. I even thought it was a little silly. Even the Flick Pick, I think, called him out on it and said that's a little silly. But again, I still watched Chris Stuckmann. I was like, I'm still watching him. I still like him. I'm still going to continue to watch his stuff. But I don't know what happened. I think it was like in like 2020 era. He made a video. I have to find the video. He made a video about just not wanting to be a movie reviewer anymore, because his new movie's coming out called Shelby Oaks. He wrote and directed an actual full-length feature film, and he got the fans to help him pay for it and stuff, which is great. That's an awesome thing. That's something he's dreamed of and wanted to do. He wanted to be a filmmaker. He's made a movie and stuff. But I think that because he's made a movie, he thinks he can't criticize movies, which I find funny. He's a movie critic. So he made like a video in like, 2020, 2021 or something. He made a video that he's like, I'm not going to talk negative about films anymore. This is a film appreciation channel, not a movie reviewing channel anymore. And when he said that, I stopped watching him. I'm like, well, that's why I subscribe to you. You're a film critic. Like, you could still be a filmmaker and a film critic. But for some reason, he thought because he was a filmmaker now, he can't criticize other filmmakers. Even though criticism is a very big part of cinema. Like, we've had film critics for a long, long time. And film critics help movies. Roger Ebert himself has helped filmmakers with his film criticism. Martin Scorsese used to watch all of Roger Ebert's reviews to see if he liked his movies and if he can improve upon his movies, because he looked up to Roger Ebert. People look to film criticisms to better themselves as filmmakers. If you just say every movie a filmmaker makes is good, they're never going to learn anything. You need criticism. And I'm not saying just be a dick about movies, but you need to criticize movies to understand how to make movies. And I don't know, I think Chris Stuckmann just lost his way, and I was not all about that anymore. I want to watch real critics criticize movies positively and negatively. And if he wasn't going to do that, why am I going to watch him again? Why am I going to watch him? It doesn't make any sense. And I find it ironic. I think it's ironic that his entire channel is big and massive, and it gave him the following to make all this money and to get him to make the movie. All of that is built off of negative criticism. His hilariosity reviews are his biggest viewed videos on YouTube for him on his channel, and his analytical stuff of pointing out flaws in action movies and flaws in horror movies. All his reviews and videos that are negative are his most viewed videos and give him the most revenue. That's what made him who he was. That's what made him have all these subscribers and have all this money he has. And now he's just like, no, fuck that. I'm done with that. You can't expect fans to stick with you then. If like this is why I subscribed to you. You did hilariosity stuff. You did funny videos. You don't want to do that anymore? Then why am I sticking around? So he just changed who he was and changed the identity of his channel. And he is free to do that. It's his channel. He can do what the fuck he wants to do. He can talk about whatever he wants to talk about. 100%. I agree. You can talk about whatever the hell you want to talk about on your channel. However, you're going to lose subscribers who subscribe to you for reasons why they subscribe to you in the first place. Like, if they subscribe to you for your hilariosities, you don't want to do those anymore, they're probably going to leave. So, it's also a business. YouTube's also a business, so you got to be smart. And I guess Chris Stuckmann just didn't care. He just wanted to make movies and please the filmmakers and film studios, and he wants people to like him. He doesn't want no one to hate him in the industry. Some people find that's a little fake and phony. I kind of agree, but that's his choice. But the big controversy, the reason why I'm making this video is from February 16th of this year, where he did his review of Madame Web. Where he reviewed a movie without reviewing a movie. He basically just did a review of pretty much saying the movie sucks. He doesn't actually flat out say it because he is so terrified to say the movie's terrible. That is where he's come now. A guy who came from burning Blu-rays and laughing at movies, now he's even scared to just say a movie sucks. He is terrified to just say a movie's bad. And I'm like, really? And he's basically like, well, it's not great, but like it's the studio's fault. The studio did this. This is not a movie about Madame Web. It's about the studios, and the studio did it. I'm like, okay, you're right, but we all know studios intervene. We know this. We all know this. But you got the Madame Web thumbnail. What about the movie? Is the movie good? That's what people want to know. Is the movie good? But he said, well, the studios. I'm not gonna bash the filmmaker. And he basically like praises the director, and I'm like, she didn't even do that good of a job. It's not a well-directed movie. It's not even a well-written movie. But he didn't want to bash the director or the writers because maybe he'll one day work with them. I don't know. He doesn't want to upset Hollywood. But I'm like, you're basically making a review without reviewing the movie, and everyone's like, what the fuck am I watching? What is this garbage video? And that's why people lost respect for him. Like, it was basically him almost criticizing the studio and criticizing critics about like being toxic and mean and people need to stop it and blah blah blah. He's almost become like this like anti-Chris Stuckmann now, and it's kind of dumb. And I've seen it over like the years. Like I stopped watching his videos, but I've seen occasional videos where he just praises everything that's Disney related. He'll say it's amazing, it's brilliant, it's so good, it's fantastic. And everyone's like, a lot of people are calling him like a shill. I don't know if he is or not, but I don't fucking know. But a lot of people are calling him like he's fake, it's phony, nothing. It's very disingenuous with what he does, and just it doesn't feel like the Chris Stuckmann that we all subscribe to. And it really shows in that Madame Web video. And I see where everyone's coming from. I really do. He's just not the guy anymore that comes in front of his camera and just talks movies and laughs at bad ones, praises good ones, does his best in the worst year, and gets Stuckmannized, and that's it. And he doesn't do that no more. He just wants to be nice to movies, and if you're not nice to movies, you're part of the problem. You're toxic, and film criticism is bad now, and you gotta like everything, and kumbaya. Stupid. And you know what? I'm not gonna talk him personally. He seems like a nice guy. He seems like cool guy, and I think him as a person is good, and I don't know him personally. He could be a dick of all I know, but he seems like a nice guy. It seems like he means no harm, but his channel has fallen really badly, and you can kind of tell people are now getting kind of annoyed of Chris. When Chris made the video of like not being negative anymore, he still had a lot of people agreeing with him. There are YouTube channels that literally copied Chris Stuckmann. He started a movement of anti-negativity. Like, people saw Chris Stuckmann say, like, I'm not going to be negative with movies. And there was, like, a handful of channels that did the same thing. They're like, yeah, let's follow Chris Stuckmann. Like, I'm also not going to be negative on movies. No. I'm going to do what he does and stuff. Like, he got, like, a little army with him saying, like, oh, it's bad to be negative on movies and stuff. I'm like, wait, what is fucking happening? What's going on here? Like, he, like, changed the YouTube space, and now even those people who followed him into the depths of anti-negativity, now they're like, okay, wait a minute, what's he doing now? Even his diehard fans are like, whoa, wait, what are you doing? So I think his channel is falling off the map, and I don't think he gives a shit, really. I think he just wants to be... If he directs, like, a big $100 million budget movie for Hollywood, he'll probably quit his channel. He doesn't care about his channel. I think he only does it for the revenue, for the money, and yeah, that's his income and stuff, so that's why he does it. And I feel like there's no passion there anymore, the passion for film criticism and being a critic. He just wants to be a filmmaker and basically say fuck you all to the subscribers in a way. And again, I'm assuming, I could be wrong, but there's a reason why I don't watch him, and this controversy was kind of interesting, so I thought I'd talk about it briefly. Go into the depths of Chris Stuckmann. He's fallen off the map. Will he make an apology video? Possibly. Who knows? But, yeah, Chris Stuckmann is just not the same, so we're not getting Stuckmannized anymore. But, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with him? I don't really care now. I just wanted to make the video addressing it. Some people messaged me, said, hey, make a follow of Chris Stuckmann. And I'm like, nah. But after the Madame Web video, I'm like, well, maybe I should now. So, what are your thoughts and opinions on Chris Stuckmann? Do you still like him? Do you still watch his videos? Do you think this controversy is a little overblown? Or do you think he's just not the same anymore? And maybe he should just, I don't know, not be a film critic anymore, because since he is anti-film criticism. But let me know in the comments below. Comment below, let me know. And as always for this video, please like, subscribe to this channel, and join the dark side.